The Nuolan Shan family? Luo Feng smiled. I've been waiting for them for a long time. 2 years and 8 months ago, he had already known that the Nuolan Shan family had passed through the wormhole and were heading towards Earth. After such a long time, Luo Feng had long made ample preparations. Full of confidence. The universe ship resounded with Babada's mocking voice. Right, Luo Feng, we should return to Earth now, right? No rush. Luo Feng shook his head and smiled. The golden horn beast is currently training deities of the world, it can't stop for now. Let's wait a while, I'll take the chance to head to the Killing Fields battlegrounds to train, it's been a while since I've gone there. Killing Fields battlegrounds? It shouldn't be a challenge for you. Jumping levels, then it's a challenge. Luo Feng smiled, following which he sat crossed-legged and closed his eyes, his consciousness connecting to the Virtual Universe Network. Virtual Universe Network, Black Dragon Mountain Island, one of the battlegrounds. It was a boundless desert. 2 men stood in the desert, one of them had green scales on his face, a horn on his forehead, on his back were 2 crossed blades, he stared coldly at the distant opponent. His opponent was dressed in a white battle robe with silver long hair and silver eyes, a handsome man. 100 blades? The silver-haired man sneered, you actually dare to jump levels to battle, I'll let you know. The difference between a universe level 9 and 8. The green-scaled man snorted coldly, this made the silver-haired man's expression sink. Rumble. The green-scaled man and silver-haired man suddenly became 2 beams of light at the same time, clashing together. Within a certain study room in the Killing Fields, Nuolan Shan, who was dressed in a dark green battle uniform, was currently conversing with a man in a grey robe. At the same time a screen appeared in front of them, on it was the battle between the green-scaled man and the silver-haired man. Bai Kaluo's strength has risen a lot from before. The grey-robed man's eyes were long and narrow, smiling as he complimented Bai Kaluo's talent, perseverance and comprehension. He's the most outstanding of all the disciples under me. Nuolan Shan said proudly, even though I've received the Battle Axe Fighter title, back when I was at Universe Level 8, I might not have had his current battle strength. Such a high evaluation? The grey-robed man was surprised. Then do you think he can win this battle? We can win. Nuolan Shan nodded. His opponent is a Universe Level 9. The grey-robed man said. Just watch. Nuolan Shan was extremely confident. On the screen, the green-scaled man Bai Kaluo and his opponent were engaged in a fierce battle. Azure gales revolved around him. Bai Kaluo was like a darling of the wind, his entire body turned into a spinning top, constantly spinning, the blades in his hands turned into bright blades of light, constantly cutting towards the silver-haired man. And the silver-haired man's figure was incomparably graceful, his body was surrounded by rays of white light, his entire being was like a sun. This silver-haired man controlled a thread-shaped spirit weapon, constantly coiling around Bai Kaluo. 10 strikes. The green-scaled man's face was ferocious as he growled. The saber light suddenly turned into 10 saber lights. 50 strikes. Yet another low growl. That snow-white saber light grew even brighter. Each of the saber lights seemed to form a lotus, every single saber light becoming the petals of the lotus. SSSS. A thread-shaped weapon danced about time and time again, slashing towards Bai Kaluo. 100 strikes. Bai Kaluo roared in rage. Rumble. Incomparably dazzling rays of snow-white saber light instantly seemed to form a huge tsunami that soared into the sky. The huge wave formed by over 100 snow-white saber lights instantly drowned the silver-haired man. The silver-haired man's eyes were filled with terror and disbelief. But then with a bang his entire body exploded. Bai Kaluo, whose face was covered in green scales, snorted coldly and disappeared from the battleground space. Beautiful. The grey-robed man revealed a look of joy, shouting excitedly. How was it I wasn't wrong, right? Nuolan Shan smiled. It was very beautiful, this disciple of yours is simply too powerful. The grey-robed man's face was flushed red from excitement. His blade technique and wind domain has already perfectly merged together. And that blade speed is actually getting faster and faster, constantly rising and advancing. The further it goes, the stronger his attacks become, finally directly crushing the Universe Level 9. Right. Nuolan Shan nodded. Bai Kaluo's strong point is that the more he uses it, the stronger it gets. However, his weakness is also very obvious. When he first uses it, the power of his blade technique isn't that strong yet. If the opponent were to grasp this moment, he would be able to kill him. Haha, don't be too harsh. This disciple of yours uses 2 blades, continuously attacking. And with the wind domain, his body is agile and nimble. To kill him at the start would be very hard. And the moment his blade technique is unleashed, the opponent would be finished. The grey-robed man laughed. Not bad at all. Can he pass? Nuolan Shan looked at him. No problem. When we return, I'll send this footage to the Lord to watch. I believe, to make Bai Kaluo a special elite of our 100 Tiger building, there shouldn't be a problem. The grey-robed man laughed. Nuolan Shan's smile grew even wider. After a while, within the study room, only Nuolan Shan was left. Pung. The sound of knocking on the door resounded. Enter. Nuolan Shan shouted. The door opened, revealing the black-robed Bai Kaluo and the pointy-eared man Do Wen walking in. Head ancestor, teacher. Do Wen and Bai Kaluo bowed respectfully. Nuolan Shan lifted his head to look at the two. Bai Kaluo's black robe, that face covered in green scales, made him look extremely cold. However, the more Nuolan Shan looked, the more he liked him. Bai Kaluo, I've just recommended you to the 100 Tiger building, to be nurtured as a special elite. Thank you, teacher. Bai Kaluo bowed slightly. Nuolan Shan looked at Dowen. Dowen, you and Bai Kaluo should be reaching Earth soon, right? Head ancestor, we're very close to Earth now, estimated we'll reach Earth in 3 days. Dowen's eyes were filled with anticipation. This journey had taken them 2 years and 8 months. Of course he was filled with anticipation. Very good. Nuolan Shan was excited. Bai Kaluo. Nuolan Shan looked at Bai Kaluo. Teacher. Bai Kaluo respected his teacher very much. Remember, when you head to Earth, the first goal is to get the Automaton Ship. Hence, don't alert the people on Earth and don't alert Luo Feng. First get the Automaton Ship, the most important thing. Nuolan Shan's expression was serious. Once we get the Automaton Ship, we'll wait for an opportunity. If there's a chance, we'll get rid of that Luo Feng. Yes. Bai Kaluo and Dowen replied respectfully. Go on, I'll wait for your good news. Nuolan Shan smiled. Bai Kaluo and Dowen immediately left. When Bai Kaluo's battle with the others had just ended, in the same slaughterhouse space. Break. Luo Feng looked at his opponent. A golden swordfish flew through a beautiful arc, causing one to be immersed in that stunning beauty. The golden swordfish had already passed through his opponent's head. Madman victory. Under the domain that was filled with golden light, the golden fish was extremely excited. It jumped, and with a swing of its tail, it immediately turned into an extremely strange arc. It easily found a gap in the seemingly tight defense, and directly pierced through it, piercing the opponent's forehead. Black Dragon Mountain Island Slaughterhouse. Madman's reputation was extremely huge. Madman, he was a 9-star rated absolute warrior. Every battle he fought now was 1 level higher than him. Previously he was still a star level 6 spirit reader, yet he was already able to sweep through the star level 6. When he stepped into the star level 7 spirit reader, he too swiftly rushed to the 9-star rating within a short period of time, constantly being invincible within the same level. Even when he fought against those higher levels, his victory rate was over 99%. Incomparably terrifying. In the Black Dragon Mountain star field, many powers had already noticed this absolute genius. Whether it was the 4 great organizations or the 2 sacred lands, they all extended an olive branch to this absolute genius. However, this genius called Madman didn't even bother with them. It's over, I'm not playing anymore. Luo Feng smiled, vanishing from the battlefield space. On Mars. Within the ship, Luo Feng, who was sitting cross-legged, opened his eyes. The Black Dragon Mountain Island's killing fields really aren't that challenging. Luo Feng exclaimed. What are you so proud of? You rely on the golden horn beast to have 4 domains, and you even have some comprehension of the gold origin laws. You have to know, in the Battle Axe Coliseum, like that universe-level life and death battle, one of them comprehended a thread of the universe origin laws. We'll win immediately. You've comprehended the origin source law, and you're at the 4th level of the domain realm. Most importantly, the strength of your consciousness far surpasses your opponents of the same level, because your consciousness strength is the golden horn beast's consciousness strength. His domain, laws of origin, and consciousness are all incomparably powerful. Invincible within the same rank in the Black Dragon Mountain starfield, is that strange? If you want to compete, then compete with the geniuses of the Gangwu universe country, compete with the geniuses of the entire universe. Babata couldn't bear to see Luo Feng happy, so he would often come to attack him. Luo Feng grinned and flew out of the universe ship, arriving on the surface of Mars. Rumble. In the distance, and incomparably huge, one couldn't even see the end of it, a huge beast covered in black scales, broke through the ground. Its cold and tyrannical dark golden eyes looked at Luo Feng, following which the space beast vanished, entering Luo Feng's internal world. Deities of the world is really hard to train. Luckily in the world within a world, I acquired a shocking amount of wealth. That's how I was able to afford those incomparably precious materials. No wonder so many golden horn beasts in their entire lives can only at most master the 1st level of deities of the world. Luo Feng exclaimed and shook his head, swiftly flying towards the universe ship. Rumble. The universe ship took off, leaving Mars and returning to Earth. Earth, Asia continent, China's Yangzhou city. Luo Feng stored the universe ship and directly descended towards the West Lake courtyard. It was currently afternoon and evening. The bright red sun hung in the west, shining on the already withered grass field. On the grass field was a huge alloy arena. On the arena were 2 boys wielding blades, becoming 2 blurs as they battled. Rumble. The air exploded, the speed was so fast it created sonic booms. Stop. Next to the arena, a seemingly honest bald man with thick lips smiled. There were strange runes on his bald head, somewhat similar to some of the strange symbols of Buddhism on Earth. The 2 boys stopped. The bald thick-lipped man bowed, his eyes filled with respect from the bottom of his heart. Master. D-Fan, I'll have to trouble you. Luo Feng landed, his boots stepping on the arena. Daddy. Daddy. Luo Hai and Luo Ping's eyes gleamed, happily running towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng smiled as he looked at his 2 sons. 2 years had passed, his 2 sons had become much more outstanding. As he had enough resources to give his sons the most outstanding training, plus Luo Feng had the Yun Mo planet bloodline and the Golden Horn Beast's inherited memories and techniques, he had allowed his 2 sons to receive the best training. Right now, his 2 sons in terms of battle strength were already at the advanced level war god level. This level may be exaggerated on Earth, but in the entire universe it wasn't much. A 6 or 7-year-old child with a better bloodline, even if they weren't carefully trained, would have already stepped into the Star Traveler level at this age. These two punks, how have they been lately? LuoFeng smiled as he looked at the bald thick-lipped Di-Fan. The two young masters have been working hard, their blade work foundations are very solid. Di-Fan complimented. Daddy, you heard that. We've been working very hard. The two children said proudly. LuoFeng couldn't help but laugh. You two go play first, I have something to discuss with your uncle Di-Fan. The two children nodded heavily. They looked at each other, a hint of excitement in their eyes. Then they dashed towards the castle. To them, being able to enter the virtual universe to play the virtual game was an extremely happy thing. There were many other children around their age. Di-Fan, how's your training recently? LuoFeng smiled and asked. The secret technique that Master imparted to me, Soul Saber Slash, is indeed unfathomable. I've made some progress recently, but there are still many areas that I'm confused about, Di-Fan said respectfully. Speak. LuoFeng said. Master, please guide me. Di-Fan said respectfully. The first level of the Soul Saber Chop is about the fusion of mental energy into a saber. Di-Fan asked. LuoFeng replied. More accurately speaking, it was Babata who was answering. This was because the secret technique Soul Blade Slash was one of the most powerful secret techniques in the Yun-Mo planet. It was obtained by the Yun-Mo planet master from some historical remains, so there were no special requirements for cultivating it. As for the Soul Seal, it could only be used after the soul had been converted. Babata had recorded the cultivation experience of the Soul Blade Chop. Hence when Di-Fan met with difficulties, Babata would answer and LuoFeng would recite. This Di-Fan. LuoFeng finished. Seeing Di-Fan deep in thought, he couldn't help but exclaim within, to be able to buy this slave, I'm really lucky. Yes. Di-Fan was a slave bought by LuoFeng, and it was a universe level 9 slave. In the vast universe, relying on the biochip to control, one could at most control a universe level 9 slave, because the moment one broke through to the Domain Lord level, the Domain Lord could completely shatter his own brain and destroy the biochip without dying. Hence, the highest level slaves sold outside were only universe level 9. Of which, the price of a universe level 1 slave was usually between 10 million to 30 million universe dollars. That was equivalent to 10 life planets. And a universe level 4 slave was priced between 100 million to 300 million universe dollars. A universe level 7 slave was priced between 1 billion to 3 billion universe dollars. A universe level 8 slave was priced between 3 billion to 10 billion universe dollars. A universe level 9 slave was also priced between 3 billion to 10 billion universe dollars. This universe level 8 and 9, why were their prices about the same? That was because, buying a universe level 9 slave had its risks. Even though it was extremely difficult to break through to the Domain Lord level 9, and the chances were very small. However, there was still a possibility, who knows, maybe one day a universe level 9 slave would break through. Breaking through to the Domain Lord level, no longer being controlled by the biochip, regaining its freedom. It was very possible that in a fit of rage, it would kill the master that had been controlling it. In the universe, after a universe level 9 slave broke through, in a fit of rage, it had happened many times. This caused the price of a universe level 9 slave to be similar to a universe level 8 slave. Di-Fan, a universe level 9 slave, to be able to train to a universe level 9, one could see how powerful his talent was. Back when LuoFeng bought Di-Fan through the slave trader even advised him, Sir, this universe level 9 slave is extremely dangerous. The moment he breaks through, no one will be able to control him. Why don't you just buy a universe level 8 slave? Even though it's only one level lower, it's extremely safe. Wait for the universe level 8 slave to break through to level 9, then you can sell the slave, it won't be a loss at all. I'll buy him. LuoFeng didn't hesitate back then. After buying Di-Fan, LuoFeng transformed into the Golden Horn Beast body. Through the Golden Horn Beast, he used the slave imprint he had just trained, ordering Di-Fan not to resist. As a slave, Di-Fan naturally wouldn't resist. Just like that, LuoFeng planted the slave imprint deep within Di-Fan's soul, merging it with his soul. From that moment on, Di-Fan became LuoFeng's most loyal slave. It was loyalty from the very core of his soul. Using the slave imprint to control people, it has an effect on your soul too. Your teacher only controls the 9 undying slaves, hence you have to focus on quality, don't chase after quantity. Babata reminded LuoFeng. Understood. LuoFeng trained in the soul imprint technique, he had carefully read up on the slave imprint side effects and other things to take note of course he was clear. Choosing a slave, one had to be extremely careful. Because this was a slave controlled through the soul, the two souls had a connection, the master could completely control the slave, but the slave could also affect the master. Di-Fan was a slave from a long time ago. As a slave his training conditions were extremely poor, yet he was able to train to this stage. I've checked his background. This person is worthy of becoming one of my soul slaves. Di-Fan, LuoFeng's first true slave. The Nuolan Shan family's universe ship could reach Earth at any time, hence LuoFeng didn't enter the nutrition cabin these few days, quietly waiting on Earth. China time year 2065, October 28th, the edge of the solar system. A streamlined axe-shaped D3 grade universe ship, like a shooting star, was flying towards the solar system. Within the ship's control room, Bai Kaluo, who was dressed in a black robe, and Wen, who was dressed in a blue robe, were standing side by side in front of the control panel. The entire spaceship was simulating the scenery, allowing the two of them to clearly see the beautiful solar system in the distance. That dazzling star was surrounded by planets that revolved eternally around it. Among them, there was a small and inconspicuous blue planet that attracted their attention. Earth? Bai Kaluo's voice was ice cold. Yes, Earth, we've arrived. De Wen's face revealed a smile, turning to look at Bai Kaluo. Bai Kaluo, do you still remember teacher's words? Let's not alert the people of Earth, we'll first quietly retrieve the Automaton Ship. I know. Bai Kaluo said coldly. De Wen was unhappy within, however on the surface he still smiled and nodded. At this time, at the edge of the solar system among the scattered asteroids, there were a few satellites disguised as asteroids. Actually, in the entire solar system, there were many of these disguised probes. One could say, the entire solar system was incomparably tight. Unless it was the automaton ship's level of technology, otherwise to not be detected by these probes, it was impossible. A small asteroid with no rules and regulations. Do. The signal swiftly transmitted the images to Earth's entire planet's defense system command center. LuoFeng's family's castle. Many signals were sent. This D3 grade universe ship was completely scanned clearly. Earth, China time, 7 p.m. The sky had long darkened. The entire Yangzhou city was bustling with activity, the lights were resplendent, and as the holy land for countless warriors in Yangzhou city, LuoFeng's residence, West Lake Courtyard, was filled with laughter. LuoFeng's family was gathered around the table eating dinner. Luo Hongguo Gong Xn Lan and her wife, his brother Luo Hua and his wife and their children, Luo Feng himself, his wife and two sons, of course LuoFeng's first slave D-Fan was also present. Uncle D-Fan, I really did train my blade technique for an hour in the afternoon, right? Little Hai shouted. Yes. D-Fan smiled and nodded. Mom, you heard that right. Little Hai frowned, looking at his mother Su Xn beside him. Luo Feng looked at his son's adorable look, he couldn't help but smile. Suddenly the arm guard on his arm emitted a sound. D. Luo Feng's expression changed. This was a warning he had set long ago. The moment the planet's defense system had a few major problems, it would immediately alert him. Luo Feng looked down, the screen on his arm guard had a live feed. A streamlined axe-shaped universe ship was flying at extreme speed at the edge of the solar system, heading towards Earth. It's here. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Dad, Mom, you guys eat first. I still have things to do. Luo Feng smiled as he stood up. You have the most things to do. Luo Hongguo said. Luo Feng smiled, simultaneously patting his two sons' heads, holding his wife's hand saying softly, Su Xn, I'll be heading out for a while, I'll probably be back tomorrow morning. Be careful. Su Xn said. His family was clear. Luo Feng sometimes had important things to do, sometimes he would go into closed-door training for half a month, hence it was rare for Luo Feng to eat with his family. As for Luo Feng suddenly going out, they were already used to it, it was just that. Before they even finished eating, his dad Luo Hongguo had to say a few words. D-Fan. Luo Feng signaled to D-Fan with his eyes. D-Fan stood up too. The two swiftly left the castle. The two rushed into the sky, flying straight into the air above Yangzhou city. In the sky suddenly a black disc-shaped universe ship appeared. Luo Feng and D-Fan entered the ship, immediately changing into alloy armor and boots etc. The universe ship accelerated, rushing straight into the atmosphere, swiftly leaving Earth and heading into space. Battle. If it were to happen, it had to happen in space. A universe-level battle, to a planet that was catastrophic. The black disk universe ship became a beam of light, swiftly piercing through Earth's atmosphere and entering space. Within the universe ship's control room, Luo Feng stood expressionlessly before the control screen, behind him stood his slave D-Fan. The alloy armor they were wearing, under the light of the control room, it reflected a special glow. How long will they take to arrive? Luo Feng said to the control screen. The little devil's head appeared on the screen. With that D3 grade universe ship's current speed, it'll take about 8 hours 49 minutes to reach Earth. 8 hours 49 minutes? Luo Feng smiled, then we'll welcome them. Yes. The entire universe ship immediately began to accelerate, even though the universe ship's acceleration was shocking. Due to the ship's internal gravity control system, it allowed the ship's gravity to maintain a unit of Earth's gravity. The universe ship headed outside the solar system. And the Nuolan Shan family's previous head De Wen and Nuolan Shan's most outstanding disciple Bai Kaluo, the D3 grade universe ship they were on was heading towards Earth. The distance between the two was swiftly shrinking. The D3 grade streamlined axe-shaped universe ship's control room. Senior, you've informed teacher? Bai Kaluo, who was completely covered in a black robe, said coldly. Yes, the head ancestor knows we've arrived in the solar system. He's extremely happy. De Wen's handsome face revealed a smile. The head ancestor even said, he'll remain online in the virtual universe network, waiting for our good news. Bai Kaluo nodded. Beep, beep, beep. A piercing sound resounded within the control room, immediately causing De Wen's expression to change. Warning, warning, the navigation system has discovered a universe ship. It's heading towards us. It's heading towards us. A loud, sharp voice resounded within the control room. What? De Wen's expression changed greatly. Universe ship? Bai Kaluo was shocked too. The universe was too vast, with the size of a universe ship, If it was too far in space, it would be like a speck of dust. Bai Kaluo and Luo couldn't even use their naked eyes to discover that 100 m diameter ship from 10 million kilometers away. Within the disc-shaped universe ship's control room, LuoFeng looked calmly at the control screen before him. Activate the rail cannon. LuoFeng said. Understood. On the screen, Demon Babata started up. Immediately at the front of the entire universe ship, there was a layer of energy barrier, and under the barrier the alloy hull automatically caved in, revealing a silver-gray 6 m thick malevolent cannon barrel. The cannon barrel slowly extended forward, directly extending out of the energy barrier. The mouth of the cannon barrel changed slightly. There was a faint light in the depths of the barrel, and the surrounding space seemed to be distorted. Energy activated, counting down, 60, 59, 58, 57, 10, 9, 8, 7, 3, 2, 1. Activation complete. A voice came from the control panel and echoed in the control room. Babata, seize the opportunity and destroy it. LuoFeng ordered. Haha, leave it to me. The little devil on the screen was very proud. Railgun. This was one of the gifts LuoFeng had prepared for the Nuolan Shan family, as he had long since scanned it. It was a D3 grade universe ship. So in these 2 years, LuoFeng spent a huge amount of wealth, $260 billion universe dollars to buy a D5 grade rail cannon. D5 grade rail cannon. As long as it was a C grade technological weapon, it would be considered a restricted grade. It was very hard to buy it through normal channels. Also, the price of these technological weapons would be extremely ridiculous. Even though the upcoming auction would lower the price of these technological weapons, LuoFeng couldn't wait any longer. He spent 260 billion universe credits to buy a D5 grade railgun through a super company with a very powerful background, the House of Rarities. A galaxy like the Milky Way to be able to reach 260 billion universe dollars was already not bad. One could see just how much money LuoFeng had spent. And this was after LuoFeng had spent a huge amount of money in the Wonder Shop. Only then did the Wonder Shop agree to help LuoFeng get this D5 grade rail cannon. If it wasn't for the huge amount of money from before, the Wonder Shop wouldn't even help LuoFeng get this restricted grade weapon. This huge amount of money. It was for LuoFeng's training of deities of the world. He bought all those incredibly precious materials. To buy those materials, the amount of money he spent was much more than buying the D5 grade rail cannon. Many golden horned beasts, even till their deaths, only managed to train up to the first level of deities of the world. One could see just how high the price of training deities of the world was. The golden horned beast was normally a sector lord pinnacle and had 3 bodies. Hence LuoFeng was able to buy those materials through the human world. The golden horned beast naturally knew how to create a human body, and then buy the metals from the human world. With its sector lord pinnacle strength, its wealth was shocking, yet it usually only managed to train up to the first level. Training deities of the world allowed the golden horned beast's body to shrink, the density of its bones, muscles etc. rapidly increased, causing its strength to soar. Usually the younger the beast, the easier it was to train. Just like how a human child's flexibility was easy to train, the stronger the body, the harder it was to shrink. The universe-level golden horned beast, when it came to training, the requirements were actually lower. However, even so, to completely train up to the first level required large amounts of precious materials. LuoFeng was still lacking 2 types. These materials were really expensive and incomparably rare. LuoFeng had spent a huge amount of money on these materials in the Wonder Shop. He had spent too much, hence the Wonder Shop naturally valued such a huge customer. Hence they were willing to help get that D5 grade rail cannon. Rail cannon. Fire. Babata's excited roar resounded within the control room. In space, that D3 grade universe ship had already discovered the Black Disk universe ship closing in. It's a C9 grade universe ship. Doe increased his eyebrows. Can we shake them off? Master, we're flying towards Earth. It's coming from Earth. No matter how we change direction, they can still easily close in on us. We can't shake them off. On the screen of the control room, the AI's voice resounded. And if we want to change our speed, we'll need a lot of time. A universe ship may be able to reach light speed, but that's only after a long period of constant acceleration before it finally reaches light speed, the ultimate speed in the universe. And to accelerate sideways or decelerate etc., it's impossible to accelerate too quickly in an instant. This made it very easy for the enemy to close in. If we don't go to Earth, we can shake them off. The AI said. Don't bother with that ship. Bai Kaluo said coldly, a C9 grade universe ship can't affect us. That ship should be under Luo Feng. Doe increased his eyebrows. Right now, I'm afraid they already know we've arrived. The head ancestor ordered us to secretly obtain the Automaton Ship. Since we've already been discovered, there's no need to hide. Bai Kaluo said coldly, continue heading towards Earth. Bai Kaluo and Dawen had just finished arguing for a few seconds. Rumble. An almost undetectable rail cannon shockwave left a space ripple in space, and with light speed it struck the D3 grade universe ship. Caught off guard, under this light speed rail cannon, this D3 grade universe ship's navigation system could only transmit signals at light speed. The moment the D3 grade universe ship received the signal, the rail cannon's blast landed on the universe ship. Chi. This streamlined spaceship with the shape of a giant axe head instantly had a large hole torn out from the side, passing through the entire abdomen of the spaceship and coming out from the other side. This caused the universe ship that was still maintaining its high speed to immediately break apart. Large amounts of alloy wreckage shot out in all directions. causing the solar system space to be filled with space trash. Within the control room of the ship wreckage, two silhouettes swiftly flew out. Floating in space. It was Luo and Bai Kaluo. How is that possible? Luo's eyes stared wide. We've already been hit, what's impossible? The black-robed Bai Kaluo roared. A light-speed long-range weapon that exceeds the D3 grade? This is definitely a restricted grade in terms of price. It's comparable to a level 5 spirit weapon, genetic energy weapon. Even Sector Lord warriors normally wouldn't be willing to waste their money to buy a D-grade rail cannon. Luo shook his head, his face filled with disbelief. On Earth, how could there be a D-grade rail cannon that even Sector Lords wouldn't be willing to buy? D-grade rail cannons to Sector Lords, even though they could afford them, they rarely bought them. This was because a casual attack from a Sector Lord could exceed a D-grade rail cannon. And without the strength of a Sector Lord, to be able to afford a D-grade rail cannon was extremely rare. That's impossible. Luo's face was filled with panic. Don't worry about this. Without a universe ship, it would take us half a year to fly to Earth. Bai Kaluo communicated coldly. Rumble. In the distance, a beam of light swiftly approached. Luo, the enemy is here. Bai Kaluo communicated. Luo looked up. What he saw was a black disc-shaped universe ship swiftly approaching. However, the strange thing was, this universe ship was constantly decelerating, finally stopping a few hundred km away from them. Simultaneously, the cabin door of the ship automatically opened and a silhouette swiftly flew out, swiftly heading towards them. A few hundred km, the opponent arrived in the blink of an eye. This was a bald man dressed in black armor, thick lips, looking very simple. So fast. Luo was shocked. Rumble. A curved silver blade pierced through the air, its speed so fast that the universe level 6 Luo couldn't dodge in time, his eyes staring wide with fear. Puchi. A headshot. The second-generation head of the Nuolan Shan family, Nuolan Shan, had fallen. The silver blade's speed didn't seem to decrease at all, heading straight for the black-robed Bai Kaluo. Without a sound, Bai Kaluo's black robe swiftly flowed into his body, revealing Bai Kaluo's intrepid and ferocious body. He was dressed in a green alloy robe, it was made of scales, layer upon layer of scales. His face was covered in green scales, there wasn't a single strand of hair on his head, just green scalp. There was a curved horn on his forehead that looked like a curved saber. From head to toe his entire body was green. On his back were two crossed sabers. Chong. The lightning-fast horizontal movement created a dreamy phantom. At the same time, the saber in his hand instantly struck the silver saber light, directly reducing the speed of the silver saber light. Within the universe ship's control room, through the external simulation, Luo Feng could clearly see the two's exchange. When Bai Kaluo revealed his true appearance, Luo Feng was shocked. Blade Clan. On the ship's control screen, the demon Babata was shocked. Blade Clan? Luo Feng was shocked. Right, it's the Blade Clan. This person should be Nuolan Shan's strongest disciple Bai Kaluo. On the screen, the little demon jumped and said, in the virtual universe network, there's very detailed information on the Blade Clan. The Blade Clan is a race that worships the strong. At the very beginning, the Blade Clan planet was an aboriginal planet. However, it was on such a primitive planet when the civilizations of the universe discovered them, they realized that on this primitive planet, there was actually a domain lord 12 universe levels. The members of the Blade Clan, as long as they reached adulthood, they would reach the Star Traveler level. This was a very strong planet. It was because they didn't develop technology, they didn't have universe ships, hence the Blade Clan had always stayed on their home planet. And following the assimilation into the universe, the Blade Clan swiftly rose. Before the Blade Clan assimilated into the universe, they had a tradition of adventuring and training. Every matured member would explore the planet. And after stepping into the universe, every matured member would enter the universe to explore, to undergo life and death training. The Blade Clan, they didn't seek power or enjoyment, they all pursued the path of the strong. Whether it was to become a disciple of an absolute warrior, or join a power to learn techniques. This caused many absolute warriors to emerge from the Blade Clan. In the history of the Blade Clan, there were undying beings, sector lords, they all existed. Therefore, the Blade Clan is considered a very famous clan among the human races in the universe. Babata explained in detail. Oh. Luo Feng was shocked. It's a planetary state at adulthood. It's not a very strong bloodline in the human race. However, the reason why the Blade Clan had such a huge reputation was because of the Blade Clan. It's their personalities. Babata said. Because of their perseverance, their determination to become stronger. This kind of belief is ingrained in their bones, that's why so many experts were born. While Luo Feng was shocked at the Blade Clan in space, the Universe Level 9 D-Fan was madly battling with Bai Kaluo. D-Fan stood in space, controlling the spirit weapon. As for Bai Kaluo, he was surrounded by waves of sighing gale, causing his figure to become incomparably blurry. His two blades were already extremely fast, fusing into the gale domain, forming an unending blade wave. Clang clang clang. That arc light clashed with the snow-white blade lights, causing D-Fan to reveal a look of shock. This Blade Clan man before him was obviously only a Universe Level 8, however he actually relied on his two blades to block his spirit weapon attacks. 100 blades. Bai Kaluo roared. Rumble. Large amounts of snow-white blade lights overlapped, forming a huge wave of blade lights, immediately engulfing D-Fan. With a pung, the wave of blade lights collapsed, Fan's expression was pale. Bai Kaluo revealed a look of shock. He actually blocked his ultimate attack. This punk. Fan squinted, roaring, soul blade slash. The formless spirit energy immediately became a blade that the naked eye couldn't see, swiftly piercing into Bai Kaluo's consciousness. Bai Kaluo's eyes slightly dimmed, after which they lit up, staring hard at Fan. He actually blocked it. Fan was extremely shocked. Within the universe ship, Luo Feng couldn't help but exclaim out loud. He actually blocked it. LuoFeng's eyes gleamed. This Bai Kaluo was a true genius. A universe level 8 was able to rely on his 2 blades to take on a universe level 9 spirit weapon. This was already very impressive. However, towards this, Luo Feng could only exclaim in admiration. He wasn't too shocked. Because Fan wasn't proficient in spirit weapons, he was mainly proficient in soul attacks. He even trained in the soul blade slash. Even though it was just the tip of the iceberg, its power was already shocking. A universe level 9 spirit reader, unleashing the soul blade slash, was actually blocked by a universe level 8. Shocking willpower. On the screen, the little demon shouted excitedly, his willpower is too shocking. This Bai Kaluo is a universe level 8 fighter, and also a universe level 8 spirit reader. However, Fan's soul blade slash, its power is extremely huge. Same level opponents would find it hard to block it, however he can actually block it. Willpower. He has an incredibly shocking willpower. The little demon said. Luo Feng quickly used the slave imprint to keep him. This is definitely a slave even more outstanding than Fan. Keep him. Luo Feng was stunned. Every slave had to be incomparably careful. I dare say he's definitely at the battle axe fighter level, even compared to his teacher. Under the same level and level, his teacher Nuolan Shan might not be his match. The demon Babata roared, his domain is high, his blade work is strong. These don't mean much. However, his willpower is shocking. It means his determination is extremely strong. He definitely has the potential to become an absolute warrior as long as you nurture him well. Luo Feng, this is a rare opportunity. Battle axe fighter level, stepping into the domain lord level, has a 50% chance. What's more, with his shocking willpower along with our Yun Mo planet secret techniques, stepping into the domain lord level is even more certain. Babata shouted, also you're lacking a fighter slave. Luo Feng nodded. Fan specialized in soul attacks. He was indeed lacking a fighter slave under him. In space. Your spirit attacks are very strong. Bai Kaluo's gaze was cold, gritting his teeth and shouting, however, the final victor will be me. Following a wild gale, Bai Kaluo's body floated in an arc, his body surrounded by a green gale, after which his 2 blades madly slashed at Fan. The genetic energy, strength and willpower within the blades had already reached an incomparably high level of compatibility. Blade. Reincarnation. Bai Kaluo's eyes were filled with madness. The 2 blades became 2 snow-white blades, madly slashing at Fan. The snow-white blades continued to accumulate, very quickly forming a huge wheel of light. The huge wheel of light rumbled, pressing down on Fan time and time again. Chi. The spirit weapon was knocked away. Fan spat out a mouthful of blood, his eyes filled with pity, unleashing the strongest move his master Luo Feng had prepared for him. Peng. A dark blue stream of light instantly smashed the huge light wheel, directly causing the light wheel formed by a large number of blade flashes to collapse. This also caused the dark blue stream of light to rebound slightly. This seemed to be a broken blade fragment, hybrid copper essence fragment. This sharp fragment drew an arc in the air as it flew towards Bai Kaluo. Spare his life. A voice resounded in Fan's mind. The soul imprint within the soul allowed Luo Feng and Fan to form a connection between their souls, able to communicate through their consciousness, just like how the quantum computer could communicate with humans, just like how the cloud contact vine could communicate with Luo Feng's consciousness. Chi. The dark blue light drew an arc, immediately slicing through Bai Kaluo's arms, cutting them off, the blade falling. Space was silent, the distant ship wreckage floated down, that universe-level warrior Dowen's body was still floating in space, however Bai Kaluo was just standing there, dumbfounded. Destroy his quantum computer. Luo Feng ordered. Who? The dark blue blade light directly chopped down on Bai Kaluo's arm guard, directly shattering the AI, while Bai Kaluo stared at Fan in the distance, and transmitted his voice. Why didn't you kill me? My master ordered me to. Fan looked at him. Master? Bai Kaluo creased his eyebrows. The distant disk universe ship's cabin door opened. A human silhouette swiftly flew over. It was Luo Feng dressed in the cloud contact armor. Luo Feng. Bai Kaluo squinted. Bai Kaluo, you've lost. Luo Feng looked at Bai Kaluo before him. Even though Bai Kaluo's broken wrist was covered in blood and flesh, slowly growing back, he himself stared hard at Luo Feng. Obviously Bai Kaluo realized he had lost this time, lost very badly. I didn't expect you to have a universe level 9 servant, even my teacher didn't expect it. You even have a D-grade long-distance light-speed weapon. It's no wonder I lost. Bai Kaluo laughed coldly. Luo Feng, if you want to kill me then kill me. With your servant here, I have no power to resist at all. In space, even if I wanted to escape, I wouldn't be able to. In the vast space without a ship, how could he escape? I have high hopes for you. Luo Feng looked at Bai Kaluo. I'll give you 2 choices now, one is to submit to me, the other is to die. Submit or die, choose. Luo Feng looked at him. Submit? Ah. Bai Kaluo laughed loudly. Luo Feng, are you joking? Just a little star-level punk like you actually wants me to submit to you. If it was that baldy, if he wanted me to submit, I'd still consider it because he's too strong, his last move easily defeated me. But you, a little star-level punk wanting me to submit? Bai Kaluo shook his head. Think carefully before you answer. LuoFeng's voice became even colder. The moment you reject, that means death. If you die, everything will be for naught. Your pursuits, your dream of becoming a strong warrior, everything will be gone. I'll ask you one last time. LuoFeng's voice was ice cold. Death or submit? Luo Feng stared at Bai Kaluo.